One night, I gave a stranger my hoodie. I thought I was helping her. But really, she changed my life. Kindness doesn't just warm bodies. It opens doors. And sometimes, it writes your future. Part 1. A cold night in Chicago. The wind in Chicago that night was relentless, slicing through the streets like invisible razors. The bus stop on West Belmont Avenue was deserted except for a young man in his early 20s, shoulders hunched beneath a thrift store hoodie, waiting for the 77 bus. His name was Eli Dawson, and he had just finished his double shift at the Greasy Spoon Diner 2 blocks away. Eli worked hard. He always had. He had no choice. His mother was sick, unable to walk since her stroke, and he was her sole caregiver. His dreams of becoming a writer had long been replaced by the brutal rhythm of dishwashing, floor mopping, and clock watching. But Eli never complained. He just survived. That night, as he tucked his hands deeper into his sleeves, a woman appeared at the bus stop, her steps hurried, her breath visible in the cold air. She looked out of place. Not because of her age, she was in her late 30s, but because of the way she was dressed, tailored pants, silk blouse, and a light blazer. No coat, no gloves. Her heels clicked nervously on the sidewalk. She looked cold, bone cold. Eli watched her from the corner of his eye. She wrapped her arms around herself, shivering. Her hair was neat, but slightly frizzed by the wind. Her lipstick, perfectly applied, was cracking from the cold. She kept checking her phone. No Uber. No cabs. The bus app kept crashing. Something had gone wrong. Then it happened. Without a word, Eli stood up, walked over to her, and took off his hoodie. Hey, you look freezing. Here. She looked up, startled. Her eyes met his. They were tired, yes, but kind. Warm. I'm okay, she said instinctively. No offense, ma'am, but you don't look okay. Take it. It's clean. I swear. She hesitated, then took it. Thanks. Amara, she said, pulling the hoodie over her designer blouse. Eli. The bus didn't come for another 20 minutes. In that time, they stood in silence under the yellow glow of a flickering streetlight. The air between them, no longer just cold, it felt connected. When the bus finally came, she offered to return the hoodie. Keep it, he said. You probably need it more than I do. Mara laughed. That's doubtful, Eli. She stepped onto the bus, turned back, and said, You're a good man. He nodded, unsure why those words stuck with him long after she was gone. Part 2. The woman behind the hoodie. Mara Kingston wasn't just any woman. She was the Mara Kingston, CEO of Kingston Ventures, a rising tech and philanthropic conglomerate known for investing in people, not just profit. She had been raised by a single mother herself, once lived in shelters, and never forgot what it meant to be cold, hungry, or invisible. That night, she had left a board dinner after a brutal argument with a potential investor who scoffed at her newest initiative, creating a writing incubator for underprivileged youth. You can't turn janitors into authors, he had said. Mara left the table without finishing her steak. Her phone died. Her driver was stuck in a snow jam. Her coat was in the car. That's how she ended up at the bus stop on Belmont Avenue, cold and discouraged, until a young man named Eli Dawson gave her his only warm jacket. He had no idea who she was. That's what made it real. That's what made it matter. Part 3. The Search. For weeks, Mara couldn't stop thinking about Eli. She wore the hoodie more than she should have. It smelled faintly of soap and grease and something else, humility. She had tried to Google him, searched through rideshare logs, even asked her assistant to check local diner rosters. No luck. Too many Ellis. Too many dead ends. But she couldn't let it go, because for all her wealth, power, and connections, no one had shown her that kind of raw, uncalculated kindness in years. She finally called in a favor with a local journalist she trusted. Can you find the guy who gave a woman a hoodie on Belmont and Clark 2 Fridays ago? Only if you tell me why. I want to give him everything he never asked for. Part 4. A knock on the door. 3 weeks later, Eli was feeding his mother soup when there was a knock on the door of their crumbling apartment. He opened it, expecting the landlord. Instead, there was a tall man in a suit and a woman holding a camera. Eli Dawson, the man asked. Yes, I'm Thomas Graves with Channel 4. We'd like to talk to you about something that happened at a bus stop last month. Eli's heart skipped. I didn't do anything wrong. No, the woman smiled. You did something right. They aired the segment that night, The Kindness Jacket, a CEO's search for the man who didn't hesitate to help. It went viral overnight. The world fell in love with Eli. But Mara? she already had. Part 5. An offer like no other. 2 days later, Eli was invited to a corporate skyscraper downtown. He borrowed a blazer from his neighbor and tried not to look out of place among the glass elevators and echoing marble halls. Mara met him in the lobby, not as a CEO, but as a woman who had been changed. "I owe you a jacket," she said. He laughed. "And I owe you a dry hoodie." Then she handed him a folder. "I want to sponsor you, Eli. Fully. Not just for school. I want to give you a fellowship, housing, mentorship, a paid internship, and a shot at writing again. I read some of your old blog posts. You're good. Better than good." He blinked. "How did you?" "I know people." I can't accept that," he said. "Yes, you can," she smiled. "And one day, you'll pass it on." Part 6. Rise of the Underdog. Eli took the fellowship. At first, he was overwhelmed, surrounded by Harvard grads, Silicon Valley interns, and boardroom sharks. But he wrote. And he wrote well. Mara had him work closely with her in the new Human Stories division, a department she created just for people like him. She believed that stories could save lives. Eli became the voice for those who had none. His first piece, "The Warmest Night Was Cold," was published in The Atlantic. His story reached millions. He became a mentor, a voice, a changemaker. And his mother? She was moved to a state-of-the-art assisted living center with medical support, fully funded by the Kingston Foundation. Part 7. Full Circle. One rainy evening, a year later, Eli stood outside a new Kingston community center that he helped design, dedicated to storytelling, youth literacy, and mental health. He saw a teenage boy sitting alone in the cold, waiting for a ride, shivering in a school uniform. Eli took off his coat and handed it to the boy. "Here," he said. "You probably need it more than I do." Epilogue. The story behind the success. When journalists asked Eli in later years what started his meteoric rise, he never mentioned talent or luck. He always said the same thing. "One night, I gave a stranger my hoodie. I thought I was helping her. But really, she changed my life." Kindness doesn't just warm bodies. It opens doors. And sometimes, it writes your future.